Hey everybody, welcome back to another in our series of 5-minute webinars. So today we want to talk about the notion of what's the difference between being a cost center and being a value center. There is a notion called organizational learned dependency. It's us justifying our own existence within the organization. And it creates a little bit of a cycle of dysfunction. So what happens for us in learning and training and development is that we're sort of at the tail end of issues that arise. We create training that may or may not solve the real issue. And quite honestly, it doesn't make us any better as an organization. So the question that we're going to explore is, what if what we were doing was about adding value to the organization?
And Anil, this concept of are you a value center or a cost center to the organization is really at the heart of some of the issue of line of sight. And let me give you a hypothetical. Consider a lumberjack camp. Now we have industrial lumberjacks. These are big burly people who work every day with industrial chainsaws, and their primary job is to fell big trees and trim them up so they can send them down the mountain so they can be processed and eventually turned into paper for customers at a mill. One of the issues that come up that there are 28 eye injuries 1 month at the camp. Well, this becomes a major hot button issue for many reasons. Not only the moral issue of keeping our employees safe, but there's a profitability issue. We can see that it costs 70 work days that month. They send this issue to training. And what does training do? Much like you mentioned, Anil, rather than take the approach of let's take a look at this firsthand, they take the information from leadership and make the assumption that leadership sees the value already in this, and they go diligently to work creating a safety training program. Make sure that it's instructionally sound, make sure that it can be delivered on multiple platforms, and then they go out and do a wonderful job of delivering it to these lumberjacks and speak their language and feel very good about what they've accomplished. And then we would do an evaluation and found out everyone really liked the training program and everyone went through. We had 100% compliance, and that would be considered a success. But let's apply this line of sight concept to the same situation. Imagine if we got the lumberjacks involved and talked to them about this line of sight. What we want to do for you is we want to find a way to help you to get more of this lumber to our customers. How can we help you while reducing these eye injuries? And the solution, rather than a training program, might have been purchase of new eyewear. And we might have found a solution that was a 10th or a 50th or a 1,000th of the cost. And we can then go to the leadership and say, here is our solution. It's not training, it's performance-based. Now think about that conversation with leadership when you've come to them with a unique solution that not only solved the problem, but did it in far less time and for far less money than they were expecting. That's a conversation I'd like to have. So Anil, what we're really suggesting here is a departure for many of us. If we really want to be a value center, and we really do want to take this line of sight concept to heart, what we should be looking at is, what can we do? How can we get involved with the stakeholders to answer that question?
Absolutely, Peter. So what we're asking or suggesting is that we stop thinking about the issue or the solution being that we want people to work more days without a safety incident, and instead think about how is this going to help us increase the value of our organization? How is this solution really going to impact whether or not we're getting materials or products to the customer faster? How is this solution going to enable us to be more innovative? Going to enable our employees to drive up their productivity, which is far, far different than whether or not we're going to have more safety issues. One is a risk avoidance. The other is creating opportunity and possibility, which is really what we should be all about. And if you're not doing that, you should be. Your senior leaders want you to be thinking about how is what we're doing helping our organization become a more valuable, profitable, productive place to work. And if you don't know how to address those questions, you should probably find somebody to talk to that does. It might as well be us.
And we'll look forward to talking more about this issue in our next webinar. And Neil, I agree. What you're really talking about here is changing what we're measuring and what we're viewing to start to look at the business impact, to talk about alignment with goals, and to start talking in terms of return on investment for the training we're creating. That's a line of sight for me to the customer.
Absolutely. And if you're not doing that, you should be. Your senior leaders want you to be thinking about how is what we're doing helping our organization become a more valuable, profitable, productive place to work. And if you don't know how to address those questions, you should probably find somebody to talk to that does. It might as well be us.
And we'll look forward to talking more about this issue in our next webinar.